Hey guys, I'm on here live and I just wanted to say hello to the new people on here. Welcome for everyone who's already been on here. I'm saying hi. I'm writing an article kind of a week based on things that I was inspired by off of the book. So, Breathe Mija had all the chapters, and there was like more in there that I was really inspired that I wanted to write about. And so I'm writing an article once a week right now that kind of is inspired by the book. And I just did my first one this week about sexuality and it being like my first power. So read it, check it out. If you're here reading the book, I hope you enjoy the book. I am going to do, I think, a few video reads of little glimpses of each chapter. So I can kind of have a visual as well. And if you go to these chapters or articles that I wrote, you can also listen because I say them in my voice. And so the article that I just did this week, I actually ended up reading it. So if you wanted to listen to it, you could listen to it because it's me reading them. I feel like it makes it a little bit more personal. Um, but I wanted to just give little video glimpses of each chapter that you guys are reading or listening to, and let me know what you think. So, anyone who's already read the book, this is kind of a take back to it. And then if you had any questions when I come on here, let me know as you're reading if you want me to dive into anything that you're reading. Ask me. That's what this space is about. And just thank you for everybody who is reading this, subscribing, and sending me so many amazing messages and love about it. Like, it's been such an incredible experience for me, um, just and everyone involved in it. So, chapter one, the porch on Glen Holly Drive. Two moms, a hitman dad, McDonald's commercial, and Olivia Newton-John in our backyard. We called ourselves the Shady Bunch, just a normal childhood. The events in this memoir are based solely on my own memories and personal perspectives. Some names and identifying details have been changed to protect the individuals. This is my story as I have lived it and as I remember it. It is real, it is raw, it is me. Where do I begin? Let's start with the first real memory. The key moment in my life, the beginning. I was 6 years old, and this is the memory I revisit in therapy the most. I was standing on my front porch in my grandmother's house in Anaheim, California, and my mom was telling me that she and my dad were getting a divorce. We were living with my grandmother at the time, me and my two younger brothers, and I remember yelling and screaming between my parents. And then it cuts to the porch. 6 years old, devastated. My younger brothers were devastated. They were both special needs. The youngest, who was still a baby at the time, had almost died at birth. We didn't think he would make it. He was a miracle baby, my Andy. He needed so much love and attention and care, and he was the cutest baby in the whole world, full of love, so tiny and so fragile. My grandmother was able to help my mom with him. My mom was largely on her own. She was a young mom who had me at 21 and now in her early 30s with three kids, two of whom had serious health needs. My father had no idea how to show up for us at this stage. He sort of bounced. He didn't pay child support, and we saw him every other weekend. So it was just us kids with my mom and my grandmother. My mom went on welfare. She enrolled at the city college and was determined to get a good job and take care of us all. She worked nights at Blockbuster, went to school full time, and my grandmother handled the rest: the watching, the meals, the homework, getting us all to school. She stayed at home with Andy, and he became her purpose. He gave her a real sense of love and a meaning, a chance to be a mother again for herself. My grandmother had only been married once to my grandfather. He was an orphan, and she came from foster care. They fell in love. He was LAPD, and she was a devout Catholic. Her life was the church and the Bible, and together they had 5 kids, all named after people in the Bible: John, Mark, Matthew, Mary, Ann, and my mother. My grandmother was an alcoholic, and eventually they got divorced, leaving my grandmother to devote her life to Jesus. No other man until the day she died. I found out years later that she had carried a lot of trauma from men, from priests, and from the church. And now she was raising us, helping out my mother. And the truth was, she needed this role. She hadn't done it all that well on her own for her own kids. She had no real example of a great mother or a stable home, and she did the best that she could for them. And now, as adults, they held anger towards her. So, this was God's way of letting her try again with us. Andy needed her love. She needed his. Nate and I needed her too, and my mother needed her. We all needed her. I remember thinking of my grandmother as my mom. She was a massive presence in raising me. Jesus was all over the home. She took us to church. She told us everything about the Bible, and she was a strong woman who never needed a man. She had her faith. She worked for the church. She took care of all of us, including my mother. My dad, like I said, would see us over the weekend. He lived in an apartment with two of my older brothers from his first marriage. They were in college, and my father was a rare breed, not like any other father I knew or saw. He was a tall Mexican man who grew up with a wild childhood in East LA, and he was determined to get out of his poverty and out of the hood. At 18, he was sent to Vietnam. He saw and lived through some pretty unimaginable things at war and came back full of stories. His life alone is a whole book. He was a drug dealer at one point, and though he never used drugs or drank, he hated being out of control. He was also a hitman for the Italian mafia at one point, and I learned that he was breaking legs and much worse. The stories are wild. Somebody wrote, "This is more of a question for you just because I have followed you forever. How did you decide to live as a family with Jamie instead of continuing to live as a family with Jenny? It seemed like you guys lived together as a family very well, or did not wish to because she figured it might make it harder for her to find someone if living with an ex. I just love you guys together as best friends." Um, okay, first, that is chapter one, the beginning of where I remember my oldest memory was on the porch at the house where my parents got divorced. So chapter one will continue, and it is the beginning of my first memory of the first trauma, which was my parents' divorce and my very unique home family, my grandmother, my mom, my brothers. Um, and that's really the beginning and core of me. Second part, um, Jenny and I have not lived together for a little while now, over a year, maybe longer, and we have separate lives, and I love her and we're family. And as much as we tried to be a family, we needed to separate to create our own identities and our own worlds. And that was the journey that we needed to go on. And she has hers and I have mine, and yet we love each other and our family. Jamie is my like he's my twin flame. He's my person. And we were always intended to do life together. We just were trying to do it in a way that was what the world needed it to be, and we weren't truly listening or being honest, if you've read the book, with ourselves in order to do it the way that we needed it to go. And so our decision to now come back and really be in each other's lives in that way comes from the fact that we have a love that is so deep that way, and we've had it for a very long time. And Jenny and I are friends and love each other deeply, and have a very special love, and we will always. But she's to do her life her way, and I'm to do mine my way. And as we all know, I'm very not conventional and live my own life. And that could definitely be something that isn't easy for somebody to be with her, where I'm not as much of a threat like that when it comes to Jamie because, he's gay. So it's just, it works for us. He's my person. So, and she's my person too, and in our own special way, but she has her life that she gets to create and her person that she will bring in. And I'm here on the sideline cheering her on forever. So there are many chapters. I will come on and read a little glimpse of chapter 2 and 3 and 4, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And I'm here for any questions. That's it.